Happy Spiritual Sunday. People are going to start coming online with us. Happy Spiritual Sunday. So nice to have people here in Boca. Soon, every day, more and more, we're covering the world. You know, there used to be a paint company. I want to say which one. They used to say something about covering the world with paint or with colors or something like that. So the job of the Kabbalah Center, we're now just over 100 years, is to cover the world with the Zohar. Put enough Zohar in the world, then that's what will it be like? If you think, that's very nice. Think of what the Garden of Eden looked like, what it still looks like. Think of the colors, the brightness, all of the, the foliage and everything, how bright and illuminated and just vibrating with light of love, of peace and all of that. Now imagine that, and it sounds, for me, it's always paradoxical. Or take a little book like this, or you take the big ones. But let's say if we had, I don't know, maybe 1 billion of these around the world, 500 million around the world, you could have the Garden of Eden. No more fighting, no more hatred, no more negativity, no more chaos. Because light removes all darkness, as we're going to talk about in a certain frame today. But it's a simple concept, right? It's the simplest concept probably that we could ever understand. Light removes darkness. And the whole point of the center is just bringing the original light from the endless world here into this world. There's parts of that inside each soul. Every person carries a piece of that infinite light. The issue is, for us, we have free will. Let it shine out or don't. You walk in your house at night. Who forces you to flip the light switch, to turn on the light in the living room and take the darkness away? Anybody? No, you have free will. You can leave it dark. Sometimes we do, right? If you go, I'm just going to the bedroom, just walking, it's late at night, I'm just walking in to go to sleep, so you leave the light off. Nobody can force us, right? You walk in the room, you don't hear a big booming voice, turn on the light. Or you don't see this big hand come down to the light switch and turn it on for you. It's we who have free will. We have free will. We're filled with the most powerful energy in the universe, the light of the Creator, but we have the free will to let it out or hide it. We have the free will to use it in a positive way, constructive unity, love, peace, harmony, or to use it in the opposite way. There's no human being on earth, including you and I, who do negative things of whatever degree, that those negative actions are not empowered by the light of the Creator. Because there is no other power. There's no power of darkness. There's no power of negativity. There's light used in a constructive way, or heaven forbid, light used in a destructive way. The nice part of the big system, as we learn from Kabbalah 1 forward, is eventually every human being is going to use the light of the Creator, their piece of, as it's called in the Bible, the image and likeness of God. They'll use it in a good way, eventually. What you and I are learning is how to do that now, before we have to be forced, let's call it by circumstances of life, to do it. So that we can make it with more mercy, we can make it more peaceful, with less chaos. Let's be nice, we'll just put it that way. Okay? So now we've got people online with us. Oh, we have Las Vegas in the house, Long Island. Oh, and we also, Hong Kong. Okay. All right, so now that we at least have, what do they call it, like beacons of light, lighthouses around the world. So we're at least covering most of the world now. So let's do our affirmation. Strengthening our consciousness. Those of you online, here we go. We're going to say it together, keeping in mind the power of unity. Unity. If all of us are unified just in the consciousness of saying this, we are affecting 8 billion people on the planet to have a stronger wake-up, to realize, one, that they have the light of the Creator inside them, that all the solutions for all their chaos, all their negativity is already inside them waiting to come out, and that nobody can take the good that the Creator has reserved for them. They can give it away, they can block it, but nobody can take it from them. So we say it together. Consciousness is everything. I raise my consciousness today to see the miracles and wonders of life. I commit myself to behave with greater love, compassion, and kindness towards all human beings. That's all it takes. we have the tools, we were saying a minute ago, we have the tools, the Zohar, just to help us do that. Because not everybody, very apropos to today, not everybody, even if they're willing, has the strength. So I just want to start out with putting something in your mind, because I've heard from all the astrologers in the Kabbalah Center, this Wednesday night, Thursday, is the new moon of Aries. Anyone knows a little astrology knows that Aries is the first month of the year, astrologically, right? The cosmic year begins in Aries. So like any new year, you and I right now, for these next few days, we are deciding what energy we're going to take into this new year, like how we're going to start. So what I wanted to make sure to do now is, because, as you know, the purpose of the center is teaching people how to reveal more light and remove their darkness and their chaos. So I don't want you, me, or any of us to have to take more of our negativity into the new year, and then we have to fight it then. Let's get rid of it now, so the new year is already starting off on a higher level, and then we'll deal with the other stuff that will show up, instead of just the same repetition over and over again. So, therefore, we're going to have to change our consciousness. So what I wanted to call it today is we'll take on the negative people in our life. All right, you ready? All those mean, rotten, nasty people have been in my life. Okay, so think about one of those nasty people. Somebody did or said something that was terrible. And what did we do? We got upset, we got hurt, we got angry. We felt fear, we felt animosity, we felt judgment. And then, as we, because we're the good people, we start thinking, oh my, how could I think so badly? How could I be upset? And then that opponent that we call the parasite in our head starts to give us all the justification and rationalization. Well, look what they said. Look what they did. Of course, ask 100 of your friends. They'd all say you are justified to be angry, scream, yell, whatever you may have done. Leave them and run away. Push them out of your life. Never, decide never to see them again. And maybe you haven't since that time. And then one of probably the biggest traps of that opponent that we've planted in our head tries to tell us that by pushing those people out, even if it was screaming and yelling, whatever it may have been, we are protecting ourselves. We're going to protect ourselves from negativity. We're going to protect ourselves from toxic people. We're going to protect ourselves from heartache and heartbreak and all those terrible things that all those terrible people did to us. So today I want to wake us up and realize that's not the way it works. It's not the way it works. Because what we're learning here, very practical, down-to-earth wisdom. Like somebody, for those of you just joining us around the world, somebody before we went online was asking about, because here we've got various displays in the center here about the holiday called Passover or Pesach. And I was just explaining briefly, because it's a newer person, that nothing in Kabbalah is just a ritual, nothing is a commemoration. There is an energy force that comes into this world. Like we're saying on Wednesday night, Thursday, there's an energy of a year's worth of light, a space, an energy, a power for a whole year comes in on Wednesday night, Thursday night. On Passover, Pesach, the full moon of Aries, the energy comes in 2023, the same as it did 3,400 years ago. The energy of freedom from chaos and bondage. And we are speaking today about an aspect of that bondage that we want to be free from, because probably, like the Kabbalists explain about those of us who were in Egypt 3,400 years ago, we didn't even realize we were in bondage. Because it wasn't how people think, terrible beating and slaves and like that. No, it was like today. How many of you know people who are slaves to their car? Every day, wash and wax. They're obsessed about it. Nobody can touch it. They park far away, 2 spaces, so nobody will open their door into it and things like that. Or we also have something called workaholics. What does a workaholic mean? Somebody that is in bondage to their job. Yes, they're working hard. We're not saying it's bad in that way, but they're in bondage. So you and I, when those people did those things to us, and we reacted with our anger, hurt, animosity, fear, whatever it may have been, we put ourselves in bondage. Because you and I learn that as soon as a person does something negative, reacts, takes their light force and uses it in the frame of anger, jealousy, greed, fear, hurt, animosity, they put a curtain. They put a curtain over themselves, and the light of the Creator around the world, from their point of view, is dimmer. The light just went down instead of up. And that curtain, or we could call it a wall, yes, in one hand, in that moment, blocks you from that negative person. But when you walk away from that situation, the curtain does not stay in front of that person. The curtain, like blindfold, stays with you. So then when you walk away, you're still feeling the hurt, the animosity, the chaos, all the pain and suffering that occurred in that situation. Yeah, it seems to go away for the moment because that person is gone. Somehow you handled that situation. But what changed about you? According to the Kabbalists, nothing. Think about it. And some of us, think of somebody, the easiest way to go, think of somebody you're still hurt about, still hold animosity towards, still maybe even guilt and shame, and they're not even in the physical world anymore. So who's being hurt by the anger, the animosity, the judgment? We are. We are. And they're not even in the world anymore. So there's not even a threat they could hurt us. You want to say a little bit in the physical material world, okay, if somebody were still around, you want to be protected, keep away from them. In a certain level, not Kabbalistically, but that might make sense. If you don't hang out with them, then they can't hurt you again. But you and I have come to understand everything is cause and effect. Everything is cause and effect. So we are magnets. The energy we put out into the universe is the energy will come back. So if we put that curtain called anger, animosity, hurt, fear, resentment, what will that curtain attract? Like attracts like. More things to create hurt, animosity, judgment, guilt, shame, fear, resentment. Like attracts like. And then we wonder why things keep happening again and again and again and again. Because the only ones we're hurting is us. We are trapping ourselves in a shell of resentment, a shell of animosity. Doesn't feel good, does it? But the opponent says, yes, but they can't hurt you anymore. Great, they don't have to. You know, there are people around the world, probably still somewhere in the world today, that they think, like some of the people hundreds of years ago used to think, that we're here in this world to disregard the physical body because the soul, which is the piece of God, is the important part. So they literally will take whatever instrument and beat themselves bloody. Punish the body, punish the body, punish the body, punish the body. I don't know about you, but that doesn't appeal to me at all. But that's what people do because they think the body should be lessened and the soul then can come out. The trouble is, if you think in simple terms, every time, I mean, you and me, you get pinched. Where does your attention go? To your soul or to the place that's being pinched and the pain you're feeling and maybe the person who pinched you? So they're beating themselves, beating themselves, beating themselves. The attention's going to the pain of being beaten. It's not going to the soul. They're not saying, wow, suddenly the soul is released and I'm feeling Garden of Eden and everything else. Doesn't work that way. Doesn't work that way, but that's what that challenger in our head will do. Will make us justify. So here we are with the animosity. We put curtains around us. Who's suffering? We are. We're hurting ourselves. We've trapped ourselves. We put ourselves in bondage to those negative emotions. And as we all know today, because science is finally starting to catch up after 3,000 or 4,000 years of Kabbalistic wisdom, they're finally starting to realize consciousness is everything. And whatever we haven't, if a person holding a negative emotion, they're weakening their immune system and can be sick. No? You haven't heard that? I've heard that. Okay, good. Just want to make sure, right? So then think about it. So why? So who's punishing who by holding on to the negative emotions? We're punishing ourselves, but we think we're punishing them. They don't have the blessing of having me in their life anymore. Meanwhile, who did you walk away with? Think about it. You think you pushed them out of your life. You think you never see them again. Even the people who passed on. If you're still holding animosity, from your point of view, are they really dead? No, they're with you every moment of every day. Because all you can do is think about how much you hate them, what they did to you. It was terrible. I'll tell everybody. Maybe you already told everybody. So did they really die? No, they're with you. The person that's on the other side of the world physically. But you're still holding hurt and animosity and anger, resentment. They're still with you. You didn't leave them, 12,000 miles away. They're standing with you everywhere you go. And sadly, they're inside your self-made prison of all those curtains. So you think you got rid of them because your eyes don't see them. But your emotions are still have them right next to you, right with you. And they're still doing the same thing that they did then to you every day. Ah, I hate that person. Oh, I resent them so much. Oh, I remember what they did to me. Exactly. We've all had those kinds of experiences. We just have to learn how to shift it. Now, here's the hard part. Only light, we say, only light can protect us from darkness, yes? Is there anything else? Give me anything else in the physical world. The only other thing. So you'll put, isn't it interesting? I never thought of it this way. When I was a kid, I don't want to assume you guys, but when I was a kid and I was scared of the dark, I would walk into a dark room. What would I do? No! Close my eyes! I'm scared of the dark. I don't want to see what's in the dark, so I close my eyes. Am I really, like you said, the smarter thing, turn on the light. But you close your eyes, and then all of a sudden what happens? Yes, you can't see anything outside that may be hiding in the dark. But in your own eyes' darkness, what can you make up? Which I did. I mean, I'm in my own house, in my own bedroom, and I'm closing my eyes because I'm worried there might be something in the room. I close my eyes, and it's a very simple example of what we've just been talking about. What did I do? I could make up all the horrible monsters and terrible things that were hiding in my room, but I kept my eyes closed so it wouldn't bother me. Meanwhile, I'm bothered because where's my imagination going? All the movies I may have seen with all the monsters or whatever it was. But if I couldn't see it, I was okay. At least I couldn't see them come to eat me up. Yeah, but that's what we do, isn't it? You're holding the animosity, you're holding the anger, you're holding the resentment. So you're not even making it up because you're still remembering what they said and did. But meanwhile, you're trapped in your darkness. And the sadder part is, not only are you not getting blessings, not only are you not really removing them from your life, but we have to wake up and realize, because truth is truth. Like attracts like means that curtain of animosity is just going to attract more people like that person who hurt us. Because our job is to let all the light of our soul shine out into the world. And if it doesn't shine out, then something else has to come along to say, hey, let that light shine. So the greatest weapon that we have to protect ourselves from negative people and negative things in our life is something we've all heard of, and hopefully you'll have a different understanding of it today, but we call it forgiveness. I know, so easy to say, but I can already hear the voice going, how can Chaim expect me to forgive that person? He has no idea what they did. Or some of us will go, Okay, yes, Chaim is right, forgiveness, and I'm willing to forgive them. But they have to ask for forgiveness first. When they'll ask for forgiveness, I will be happy to forgive them 100%. Meanwhile, as long as they're not asking for forgiveness, who's again in the prison, who's trapped in our own prison, our own bondage of that hurt and that animosity, and who's keeping them with us? We are. If you really look at that objectively, it's pretty stupid behavior, isn't it? I mean, you and I look out at the world and say, oh, how can those people behave so stupidly? Look in the mirror. We all do it in one way or another. Trap ourselves in all our negative energy. It's funny, you know, there are certain places in the world where a mud bath is like a good thing. No? You know those places? Whatever it is, okay, mud bath, right? But let's say you're all dressed up for a wedding in your finest clothes. Do you now think that a mud bath is a good thing? Why not? What's the difference? The mud is the mud. It's our perspective. It's where we are, right? If I'm all dressed up, no, the mud is bad. If it's whatever, like they say, health or whatever, rejuvenating the skin, then it's okay. So we want to be free. We don't want to keep attracting these things. So forgiveness is very, very important. It's what we call our tikkun, our correction, right? We made the mistake of being upset at them because it is a mistake. Don't let your opponent tell you, well, if I forgive them, then they're just going to do it again. Because I hope just in these few minutes I showed you, if you don't forgive them, they're doing it every moment of every day until you do forgive them, because you're holding them right there in your prison. They're like in the cell with you. If you forgive them, you get them out of your cell, out of your life, and out of your energy field. And if they're out of your energy field, then you've moved up to a higher energy, and if they stay where they are, you're now separate from them. You're really energetically separate. And from everybody else like that. Because like will attract like. So if you're shining more light through this idea we call forgiveness, then more light comes your way, not more negativity. So we want to start realizing that forgiveness is for me. It's not about them. Because people have asked, what do you do with people who are dead? How do I forgive them? Why? Same difference. Because it's not about the other person anyway, it's about us. Forgiving is to get me out of my bondage, out of my hurt. So it's not going to make their life better automatically because I'm sending them the light of forgiveness. It makes my life better. Even the words, forgiving. We only came out of the endless world to share the light of our soul. Give the light of our soul out into the darkness. So forgiveness is a very powerful aspect of that. Forgiving heals me. And the sooner that we forgive, the sooner we get out of our bondage, the sooner we get more of our potential being manifest, the sooner we can attract more blessings, the sooner we heal. Heaven forbid a person has a wound, right? That's a little sensitive. You ever had a burn? You know how it hurts? It's very sensitive skin. Okay, so if the burn is on your finger, wherever you go, is it possible that you could feel the pain of something touching that burn anywhere you go? Now there's somebody who shake your hand, you run away from that person. But when you go to whatever, you're walking through a doorway and you accidentally hit the doorpost, that doorpost could now hurt you. There's all kinds of things. Why? Because you've got the wound. It's not about the person who grabbed your hand. It's about the wound. So the same thing, our hurt, our animosity, anger, jealousy, whatever it is, wherever we go, we're carrying the wound. So everyone and everything can hurt us because of our wound, not because of them. You get rid of the wound, or some people call it, if you can remove your buttons, right? They push my buttons. If you have no buttons, nobody can push them. It's not a difficult concept. The hard part is, how do you do it? So you're simple. For us, we know inside of us is the infinite light of the Creator. So you just shine light on them. I forgive you for what you did. Because why? Again, you say, oh, now he's really talking. I'm going to shine the light of God on that nasty, no good son of a gun? Yes. Yes. One, because now your darkness goes away. I'm sure some of you have heard from, usually, at least where I grew up, it was typically the parents. If they jump off the bridge, are you going to do the same thing? So they're mean, rotten, and nasty. So you'll just be mean, rotten, and nasty also because they are. So they did something that emanated from them or covered their light. They're now in the darkness. And your reaction is going to do the same thing. So the Kabbalists teach us, why do we react? I just heard it from Michael Berg, one of his classes he gave a few years ago I was listening to. Why do we act like that? Why, when something comes to us, that yeah, it does make us uncomfortable, it is somebody or something that was negative, but why do we react with anger, hurt, jealousy, fear, whatever it may be? Why? The Kabbalists teach us, it's a weak mind. It's a what? Weak mind. Why? Because we don't realize. That's why we teach from Kabbalah 1 forward. So everybody has the ability to change their life. When something comes and pushes our buttons, what do we have to do? If we want to remove our buttons or remove the darkness, pause, and now have a strong mind. What do I want to come back to me? Do I want hurt and animosity? Do I want anger and jealousy to come back to me? No. What do I want to come back to me? Forgiveness. Tell me there's nothing you have right now in your life that you feel you could use some forgiveness for. That you could be forgiven. Forget those people. Nothing you've done? Is there nobody in this room who has a little guilt, shame? A little. Microscopic. Okay. So then what do you need for that? Forgiveness. Right? So if we want forgiveness from the universe, and again, so that person, you may never see that person that you did that thing to. But if you're sending out the light of forgiveness to the people who hurt you, then the universe, in essence, energetically, is coming back to forgive you of what you've done. Which means if you're really shining your light out there, who's the delivery system? We're not the delivery system. You shine the light of the Creator out into the universe, then the universe will deliver it to the right people. Any of you still remember what they now call snail mail? Yeah. So when you put a letter in the mailbox, do you stand there and wait for the person to come pick it up and then follow them into the post office and then tell them how to sort it, tell them how to put it in the plane, tell them how to send it, get in the plane with them? Do you follow everywhere to tell them how to deliver, or do you trust the delivery system? So what's a better delivery system? With all respect to the postal system, but none of us are better than the Creator and the system of the universe. So if you have the intention and you're sending light, I want to apologize for what I did to Joe Smith, even if Joe Smith is not in the world anymore. I don't know Joe Smith is anymore. The universe, because of my intention, like I put the address on it, will deliver it to Joe Smith. Meanwhile, the darkness that I had from my eyes facing Joe Smith disappears. Because I'm shining light. The nice part is the universe will deliver the light to Joe Smith and he'll suddenly have an awakening. This side of life or that side of life. His soul is still around, it'll have an awakening. And suddenly he'll have a new awareness and he'll start to feel he needs to be more kind, compassionate, loving, caring, forgiving, and tolerant. It's a win-win system. We just have to trust it. So the strong mind is the one that says, no, you know what? Whatever they're doing, thank you. From my point of view, please, if you're new, don't misconstrue this. But the person who came and pushed my button was actually, and if you're confused about it, don't just dismiss it. At least go online, learn a little Kabbalah 1, or ask your Kabbalah teacher to explain it to you. But the person, when my button's pushed, it's actually my soul is saying, oh, time. And realize he's the one who's got the wound of the hurt, the anger, the fear, the jealousy, the greed, the ego. Heal the wound, Chaim, and then they can't do that to you anymore. Then nobody can hurt you in that same way. Because I healed the wound, like with a burn. So if I burn myself and you don't know and we shake hands, ow. You didn't mean to. You had no intention. Right? But if I don't have the wound, I don't have the burn, I shake your hand. Hi, it's friendly now. No hurt, no animosity. Is it your fault? No. I healed the wound. So my soul is asking me to wake up and see ways and means that I can heal my wound. So think about anyone that you have animosity towards, anyone who's hurt you. Send them light. Send them light. I forgive you for what you did. For those of you who want to go the extra mile, while you're sending them the light of apology, to make up the light of forgiveness for what they did to you, send them also the light of apology. Because if you get the system, if you're understanding how it works, then they came actually to help you pay your spiritual debt, to remove your spiritual button that's creating chaos in your life. So when you reacted to them, you were actually starting another debt. That's silly. They did something angrily at you, and you threw resentment energy back at them. So when you send them the light of forgiveness, you also want to apologize for throwing the energy of resentment at them. Because if you don't remove that, resentment is resentment, like we say, puts the person in bondage. They're in bondage because of their angry behavior. You're now in bondage because of your resentful behavior. You want to be free? Send them the light of forgiveness and also apology. Now, instead of 1 foot of your curtains taken away, you took away 2 feet. The light is that much more brighter in your eyes. Your life is attracting more good. You've moved up to a higher level, and they can't affect you anymore. Even they say and do the same thing. Think. We want to be forgiven. We want to rise above. Otherwise, it's not going to go away. So let me give you an example. Because if you think about it, when people say take the higher road, you remember that? Oh, they misbehaved, you want to take the high road. So if you think now spiritually, what does that really mean? If you're down here with them, because they're angry and you're screaming, you're upset and all of this, you're right here. If you could send them light and you move up like this and they stay where they are, now you've created a distance. Now you've got spiritually, if you will, a safe distance and a protection from negativity. But not only from them, anyone else who's on that level who does the same thing. And up here, not only are you away from the negative experiences, but all of a sudden you've got better friends, you've got better business, your health is better, your perception in life, the solutions to difficulties that come your way or quandaries come quicker because you're on a higher level of light. And the brighter the light, the more blessings. It's just that simple. You want more blessed life? Don't just try and get rid of the bad people. Energetically, send them so much light that the light is brighter than the darkness in your life. Not a difficult concept. Just hard to do, isn't it? But when you think of what you're gaining, so going back to the transcendence, right? You've just transcended all the stuff. You've risen above, whatever name you want to use. So there's a very interesting story in the Bible. And those of you who are new, we do believe that the Bible is true. Those people existed, they did what they did, but they were really, from our point of view, teaching us how this technology works. It wasn't about trying, like we said a few minutes ago, Passover. For those of you who do Passover, it's not about history. Oh, we're going to remember we were slaves and this, that, and the other thing. No. There's an energy comes in on the full moon of Aries that we can free ourselves from this bondage. But you have to access the energy. What do you do when your car is empty of gas? You got to put energy in it. Do you say, well, wait a second, but it was whatever. 6 months ago, they made that gasoline and it's in the gas station. So let's just sit over here in your garage with an empty car and you'll just envision that 6 months earlier they were making gasoline in the factory. Does that now fill your car and drive your car? No. So you can remember 3,400 years ago, Moses took them out of slavery and they had the 10 plagues and all of that. It doesn't do anything for you if it's only a memory. But if you can access the energy that's coming in, that's the same energy of the same quality that existed 3,400 years ago, now you can be free from your hurt, animosity, guilt, shame, bad health, bad business, bad relationships, no peace of mind, stress. You can be free from that because that's all bondage of Egypt means. You can be free from it. So Joseph, if you remember the biblical Joseph, right? Almost the youngest of the 12 sons, the 11th son of Jacob, right? His brothers, if you read literally, and you and I have learned not to just take the Bible literally, it's also metaphorical to teach us lessons. So don't start judging the brothers because they were like so high we can't even fathom. But it says they were all jealous of Joseph. So what did they decide one day? They're going to throw him in a pit and let him die with the snakes and the scorpions. What did Joseph do? Joseph was always in the consciousness of forgiveness. So the snakes and the scorpions didn't touch him. Then came along some people, and his brothers said, oh, you know what? Let's just sell him as a slave. We don't want to kill him in the pit. We'll sell him as a slave. So they sold him as a slave. He goes down to Egypt as a slave. How did he feel? No, he felt in control of his life. Why? Because he was always emanating forgiveness. You know the whole story. He gets a job, right? The boss is away. He's alone in the house with the boss's wife. The boss's wife tries to seduce him. He refuses. And now she blames him. Oh, he tried to rape me. He goes into jail. Was he angry, upset? No. Because he was always transcendent. He always knew what we understand, what we learn from Kabbalah 1. Everything was for his ability of shining more of his light, achieving more of his potential, revealing light and blessing. So in the end of the story, where did he end up? Basically ruler of Egypt, which was ruling the whole world at the time, as they call it, second to Pharaoh. Not bad for a guy who was beaten, put into pit and sold into slavery and falsely accused and spent years in jail, etc. Second to Pharaoh. Basically, really above Pharaoh, ruler of the world. So when his brothers finally recognized it, what did he say? He says, don't worry. He says, you may have meant it for bad. God meant it for good. Meaning it took Joseph from the 11th son of Jacob to the ruler of Egypt, so that when Jacob and all of his family came to Egypt, Joseph was able to give them the best of the land, set them aside, all that stuff. So you want the best of what's yours? You want the best of what the Creator gave you? You have to have forgiveness. Then you transcend it all. Your hurt disappears, starts to dissipate more and more blessings come your way. You're transcendent. And then again, you start repelling more of the negativity energetically, and you start attracting more of the blessings. Isn't that what we all want? We think we're doing it, we're just doing it in the opposite direction. We're actually doing that which will attract more negativity instead of less. Okay? So, let's go to the next part. So this is the other aspect that a lot of people talk about. Forgive and forget. Forgive and forget, right? You should forgive and forget. The forgiving we're learning, I hope you got it here, is for us. The forgetting is another question now. It needs let's call it an assessment. Assess whether you forgive or not, whether you forget or not. Forgiveness is for you, so it's 100% always. You should never not forgive, because as we've been saying, it frees us. But the forgetting, I grew up with a saying, if the donkey kicks you once, shame on the donkey. But if the donkey kicks you twice, shame on you, because you're foolish enough to stand behind the donkey to get kicked twice. So let's just make it a simple thing. You're having a party, or not you, people are having a party, and there's somebody at the party who's a kleptomaniac, and even though they're friends, but again, can't help themselves, and just, takes a little something out of the house and walks away. And the next day, the owner of the house, the host of the party, realizes that, okay, now we have to be fair. I used Joe Smith before, so now it's Mary Williams, right? The Mary Williams is a kleptomaniac and just took that little thing. Because we know Mary Williams, she's not a bad person like that, but whatever you want to call that, it's just her addiction. So she walked away. So now the host and hostess send Mary Williams forgiveness. We forgive her what she did and all of this, like we've been saying, right? Now, should they forget that Mary Williams is a kleptomaniac? No. Why? Because she stayed the same. If she's still a kleptomaniac, she has not transformed that nature, then you'd be stupid to say, let's just invite her over, walk out of the room, put her around all the valuables of the house, and see what happens. But that's in ways what we do, right? Like we've been saying, if you don't forgive the person, that's basically what you're doing. Here, come have another shot at me. And they don't even have to be there physically. We said we keep them by us in our own prison. So if you send the light of forgiveness, you remove that darkness, but the forgetting is you have to assess. And you have to assess. Did they change? Did they have regret, remorse? Did they make some effort to apologize, make up for it, whatever it may have been? If yes, then you also forget. Because why? Now they're a different person. They're not the same person. They're not the one who did that nasty thing, like you and me. Tell me, especially those of you who have been in Kabbalah Center for any length of time, did you change nothing about yourself since you've been learning? Are you exactly the same with the same reactive buttons, or did you take away at least one button? So if you took away one button, like we said, you moved into whoever you are, 0.2 or 2.0, whatever they call it, right? Or maybe you're now at 3.0, but you became a different person. So a different person, you behave differently, you have a different life. So if they've made that change, then you forgive them and forget, because they're not that person. If they didn't change, then you remember. So you don't fall into the same trap. So think about it. What do you want from the Creator? We know it's all metaphorical. The Creator is not a human being who's looking down on us and say, here, let's keep track of Joe and what everybody's doing. No, the cosmos does that. It's automatic. It's the way we set this universe up. Cause and effect. So somehow the cause is, we set up the cause, the effect is going around, it's going to come back. It keeps track. There is a cosmic book, so to speak, but it's not the Creator. But in essence, what we would like the Creator to also give us forgiveness in that way. So the only way we can actually get forgiveness from the Creator, we said, one is by giving forgiveness to others and then changing our nature. Whatever it was we did that we have guilt and shame about, change that nature. Don't just hold guilt and shame. The trap of spiritual people, and in general good people, is called guilt. It's a trap. Who feels guilt? Only good people. People who do bad stuff and are caught up really in that cycle of bad stuff, they don't have guilt because they're completely justified why they do it. They don't like that person. That person did terrible things, so they could do whatever they want. They could hate them, they could beat them, they could whatever it is. They have no guilt over it. It's you and I who start to wake up and, as they call it, see the light and realize, even though they did what they did, I didn't have to do what I did. So I can hold guilt. Now, guilt makes me feel good. I'm a good person. I must be growing a little bit because I have guilt. The trap is holding on to the guilt and letting that be enough. No, go repair. You're at the party. The host or hostess is standing in front of you. You spill your drink on the floor. You can feel bad all you want. You can have guilt all you want. But the only way really to correct that situation is to do what? Clean it up. If you clean it up, now you've really changed. You follow? In that way, you've changed the system, you've changed the situation. The host say, oh, great, wonderful, thank you, etc., and you've moved on. They're not going to follow you along and say, oh, he's spilling over there, like you see people like that. You have to go back many years in my case, but I've been at parties. Should I say that? It's being recorded. Okay. When I was in college, let's say, I've seen parties where people are a little tipsy and they're walking around with their drink and they're spilling here and spilling there and bumping this and things like that. Yeah, so you have to kind of watch them and follow and make sure. But if you spill by accident, you clean it up, okay, you don't have to follow in the same way. I hope you got the idea and not now making judgment on me. Once we're off air, you want to know a little about my college experience? Maybe I'll share it with you, but other than that, right? But I hope you're getting the idea. Forgiving and forgetting are two different things. Forgiveness is essential for us and our growth. Forgetting, we have to assess the situation. And ultimately, do not forget to forgive yourself. That's also important. You have to forgive yourself for whatever you feel bad, whatever negative things you've done, etc. Because the same way, if you don't forgive yourself, you're also in bondage. And the sad part is you're in bondage with you. The two parts of, yeah, why'd you do that stupid thing? I don't know, you did it. No, I didn't. That's real schizophrenia. Okay. So just in closing, I want to tell you this story in the Zohar. Remember I told you about Joseph, that in the end of the story, he looked at his brothers, he said, I know, you may have meant it for bad, God meant it for good. So there's a story in the Zohar, two students of Rabbi Shimon, the author of the channel of the Zohar, can't say actually authored it, So they're traveling, and they were always teaching us lessons, because again, it's really for us. And they're watching this, and they see this man who's like asleep on a cliff, overhanging this big whatever valley. And as they're watching, they see a poisonous snake start to head towards him. But just as it's getting closer, some other snake comes out of a tree that's near that cliff and kills the poisonous snake and then goes away. The guy finally wakes up from his sleep, and just he takes one step off the edge of the cliff, so to speak, and the whole cliff falls. Meaning, had he stayed asleep another, minute or so, he would have been down there. So these two students, now they run after this guy, and they look at him and they say, please tell us. They told him what happened, because obviously he was asleep. He says, what do you do that you merited having this blessing? And he's thinking. He says, the only thing I can really think of, he says, I do not go to sleep at night until I forgive those who hurt me or ask forgiveness of those I realize I've hurt. And the students of Rabbi Shimon look at him and says, this man is even more forgiving than Joseph the Righteous. So you and I can take that lesson, right? And have forgiveness, because forgiveness is an attribute of the Creator. And it's our mission in this world to have similarity of form with the Creator. Because we want the blessings. We want all those blessings in our lives. The blessings that the Creator had already implanted inside of us. So today, I encourage all of us, decide that no one and nothing they do is going to stop you from having all the blessings that the Creator gave you, that the Creator already implanted in your soul. Decide that no one and nothing is going to stop you from living your best life, and that no one or nothing is going to stop you from having peace and love and prosperity and joy and your peace of the Garden of Eden. God bless. So, as we do every Sunday, I want to thank all of you, those of you who are here, those of you online who support what we do. This is the time that it's a free will offering. I put the thing, whatever you'd like to give, support of not only the program, which obviously needs some support, but really the projects of the center. And I just want to remind you again, and I know many of you have written the blessings, and if you write, we are collecting stories about the miracles people have with the Zohar. All right, so if you have a miracle story with the Zohar, you can write it, or send it by video or whatever it is. But I encourage every one of you to at least have this in your pocket, your purse, your car, whatever it is. This is the mission of the center. Spread so many Zohars that the light is brighter, or so bright that the darkness disappears. Because once the darkness disappears, then there's only strong minds. And we said people can only act with fear, or anger, or jealousy, or greed. Why do people act with greed? Because their mind is weak. They don't believe that the Creator set inside of them all the prosperity they could ever imagine. Our job is just to express it. How many of you know the term God-given talents? You ever heard that? So, with all respect to parents, and I have kids, but since I was in the center, I realized I didn't give them talents and abilities. They came with it. The only thing I wanted to do was to help them reveal, manifest their talents. So if you think about it, the Creator implanted a piece of itself inside us. We're not missing anything. So whatever it looks like we are lacking is just a lack of light not being shined out from our soul. But that parasite in our head, that challenger opponent, makes us think, oh, they took away my business, or they took away our love, or they hurt me, or they did this, or whatever. No, let the light out. They can't stop you from doing that. You let the light out, it shows up in your life. That's why like attracts like. So you don't say, give me love, give me prosperity, give me happiness. For me, the way to speed it up, scan from the Zohar in Aramaic, like we're going to do our meditation on one of the 72 names. But you scan the Zohar, you're speeding up the process, awakening the light in you, you shine it out. Send to everyone on earth, everyone, prosperity. To everyone, love and kindness. To everyone, right relationships. To everyone, peace and health. If you're channeling to 8 billion people all those things, you're the beneficiary of 8 billion pieces. If you're a salesperson, would you like to sell 100 widgets or 8 billion widgets? Okay, you out there, these people, they're trying to debate, right? You want to sell 8 billion. Even if you make a penny on each, You can sell 8 billion, $80 million, not bad, right? So in the same way, if you're channeling the light, one, it's becoming manifest for you 8 billion times over. If you're trying to get, you can't. It's like trying to pour something in a full bottle or in a full cup. You can't. It just spills all over. So you got to be a channel of. Joseph was a channel of prosperity. That's why he was in control of all the world's wealth. Moses was a channel, a pure channel of God. He was the richest man probably ever in history. You don't think of him. I mean, the Bible doesn't say, hi, I'm Moses, I'm the richest man ever. No one will ever be richer than me. But he was. Because he was channeling light all the time. You and I, that's what we want to do. So, okay, we're taking a long time. I want to get to our meditation. So whatever support you can be, one, it goes out to help reach literally 8 billion people, because that's the mission of the center. It's not just people in the Kabbalah Center. It's not just people in whatever country you're in. It's not just people of whatever religion you are. It's literally 8 billion people, because we're all one soul. So whatever we do to those people out there, we're doing to ourselves, literally. You may not see it right away, but it does come back. Trust me, it comes back. I've shared some of my visions, whatever. Okay, so we want to bless our offering because money is just a vessel. And what you put in it is determining what not only it will bring through the projects of the center, but what it'll bring back to you. So those of you here, you can hold your offering in your hand. Those of you online, I put the website to give your contribution. So you just want to put your love, your blessing, your gratitude. One, for all that the Creator's given you, talents and abilities, peace, love, and protection, to whatever extent you have it. By expanding our appreciation, expanding our spiritual reach out into the world, then we're expanding the level of blessings and protection and peace that we have. So we also want to appreciate this opportunity of reaching literally to the soul of 8 billion people on the planet. We're speeding up the process of awakening the light of the Creator inside them. Because every human being is a pure and perfect being of light. The only reason there's any blockage or chaos is the curtains we create over the soul. Take away the curtain, the soul is always, will always be pure and perfect light. And removing the curtain allows it to be shining and manifesting out in our world. So we're envisioning it, seeing this process of bringing people to this wisdom, spreading the books of the Zohar, that we can see peace, unity, and love in our time, worldwide. It's what the Creator set up. It's our job to make it manifest. And we know as we're participating and channeling that light, it's not only good for every human being on earth, but it also helps us live more and more in our own piece of heaven on earth, in our own piece of the Garden of Eden. And together we say, Amen. Amen. So those of you online, oh, here we go. Great. So those of you who are unfamiliar, the Hebrew letters, or the Aramaic letters, they're the same, are not a construct of humanity. They are portals to the endless world. They literally just shine the light of the Creator. So you just want to look at their shapes. This is one of what's called the 72 names of God. Those of you here in the room, you look to the left, you see that chart. 72, if you will, functions of the light of the Creator. This one in particular, Nun Lamed Chaf, is to help us eradicate plagues. But today we're thinking of the plague of our animosity, our hurt, our lack of forgiveness. Because that's a plague. If today everyone woke up a spark of the light of forgiveness, the world would be completely different tonight. So we want to just let the shapes be engraved in your mind's eye, Nun Lamed Chaf. Okay. And then if I can ask you, sitting comfortably in your chair, feet flat on the floor, hands on your lap. Begin taking a few deep breaths, breathing in through the nose. Hold your breath for a moment. Exhale through the mouth. Allowing yourself just to relax, not just into the chair or your seat, relaxing yourself into the light of the Creator, this infinite light of unconditional love, the infinite force of true lasting blessings. Allow yourself for this moment to just relax, feel the light that's inside you, acknowledging every cell functions because of the light of the Creator that exists in that cell. We function overall and collectively because of the light of our soul that is their source of power. Envision above your head this name of God, Nun Lamed Chaf. See these light force particles shining, vibrating with this pure white light of the Creator. Allow this energy, Nun Lamed Chaf, to come through the top of your head. Feel it vibrating, removing the plague of hurt, animosity. Feel its vibrations beginning to shatter those walls of the prison, those chains of bondage that you've constructed by holding on to that negativity. Allow this vibration from the Nun Lamed Chaf to activate more of the intensity, more of the potential of the light of the Creator inside you, strengthening your mind, greater trust and certainty. The light is the only power and the only source of lasting fulfillment and blessings. And as you bring this name, Nun Lamed Chaf, from the top of your head, through all of your being, towards the bottom of your feet, see it transforming darkness to light, discord to harmony, peace. Opening up the gates of your heart, taking down those walls of hurt, Feel every cell of your body vibrating in a new way, a higher level. See that true love of the Creator, that unconditional love that is the light, shining out from your heart as you've taken down some of the wall, some of that shell. Listen to the new thoughts as the Nun Lamed Chaf is opening your mind, sending out that energy of forgiveness, awareness that the light is infinite. All your good is waiting for you to reveal it. And as you've opened your mind and your heart in new ways, in new levels, listen for the voice of your soul as it directs you, inspires you. How to behave more godlike, more like the light, giving you the solutions to problems that have been in your life, clarity to see people as beings of light through their curtains, to see harmony and order in the world through the dark clouds of chaos and confusion. And let's let a beam of light from our heart and soul, empowered by the Nun Lamed Chaf, to reach out to the world, activating in every human being on earth the DNA of the Creator inside them. Let's surround the world, the earth, all people with this pure light, the light of the Creator, love, peace, harmony, oneness. And let's together in unity see and empower with the light the world living in peace, heaven on earth, the Garden of Eden. Everybody with smiles, with true love, kindness, and compassion towards all people. And take a moment to record the feelings, the vibration that you're having now, the voice of your soul, whatever it may be speaking to you. And this new vision of you, your life, and the world around you. And to anchor this in and keep it with us forever, taking one more deep breath, solidifying it inside you, and then slowly exhale and open your eyes. Have a great day, a great evening for those of you on the other side of the world, a great week, and God bless.
Thank you for joining us. If you liked what you saw, subscribe to this channel that you'll be notified when we post new videos. Share the video with your friends, they can also benefit. And check out the website, www.kabbalah.com, that's Kabbalah, for hundreds of articles and classes. Wish you an amazing day, and God bless.